Alright, Skull Digger here. We're going to do another experiment today. I have this old lantern. Turn here where the light's a little better. This is a Royal. It's made by Paull's, which was bought out by Dietz. It's a rather old lantern, and it hasn't been well taken care of. But despite all of its rust, it's really in pretty decent shape. Try and give you a shot down inside the tank there. If you can see it. Let's try that again with a light on it. Might help. There we can see down inside the gas tank. It's really not in bad shape. There's a little hint of rust in there. Maybe some old sealer at some point. But I think we're good. So we are going to give this what's called a dielectric bath. Let's see if we can get all this rust off and make this thing look great again. All we're going to need, I have a 5-gallon bucket here. I filled it up with just plain tap water. Came out of that hose right there. I've got some soda ash that comes under the name of Laundry Booster Super Washing Soda that came from Kroger. It's dirt cheap, probably about $2 a box. And then we need a cheap old 12-volt battery charger. And this one fits both. I've had this thing since I was probably, let's just say I've had this since the early 70s, and it belonged to my dad before that, and I don't know how long he had it. But the nice thing about this, it's not a smart charger, so you can hook it up and it's going to run no matter what. It's not going to sit there and say it's not connected and not do anything. So you got to have a dumb charger. And then we got to have a couple of jumper wires, and I made these just for this purpose. Next thing we got to have, and I've got to clean these back up because I've used them a lot, 2 just iron pipes. And these are called sacrificial pipes because they will break down through this process. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to clean these pipes up because I want them to be clean when we start using it. Get everything set up in the bucket, and then we'll come back and talk about it. Right back. Well, this is why they call this a sacrificial pipe. I just want to show this real quick because this is how the pipe looked when I just started using it. It wasn't brand new pipe, but it does the job. And this is the part that's under the water and has the positive connection to it. And you can see how this thing is pitting and breaking down. It's really quite interesting. So it's called a sacrificial pipe because you are sacrificing whatever you use for this, and it won't be good for anything else, so keep that in mind. Alright, we have the sacrificial pipes in place. Got 2 spring clamps holding them on. I got one of my jumpers going between the 2 so they're both will be positive. I'm going to take our soda ash, and most formulas I see say that use about a tablespoon per gallon, and this is a 5-gallon bucket. But I like to be a little more liberal than that. We'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I found out the more you put in there, then the better this thing works. Let me find a paddle and I'll stir this up a little bit. I've connected my ground wire to my lantern, and then we're just going to submerge this completely. And add just a little bit more water in there. Alright, the lantern's in the bath. Added some more water, got it covered up completely. I'm going to take my positive lead and I'm going to hook it to the pipe here. This is hard to do one-handed. Alright, got it connected to the pipe there, so we have a positive to positive flow. Make sure those are straight. You don't want those touching your lantern either. You want a space between them, otherwise it's going to ground out. We're going to take the negative cable and we're going to connect it to the ground and let it hang outside. And then we're going to plug it in. Charger over here. It's plugged in. We're set on 12 volts, which is only 1.0 amps. And you may not see anything right away. This is still air coming out of the air tubes over here where the handle connects in. But we will start seeing, as this starts to work, a series of bubbles coming up and the water starting to circulate some. And it will circulate, and then this water will turn very dark, rusty, because all the gunk comes out. So we're going to let it go. I'll probably come back in about an hour and see how we're doing. Alright, we're about the 2-hour mark right now. We can see the process taking place here. Kind of hoping we can see the bubbles. This thing is off-gassing some nitrogen gas, which lets us know that it's working. Here's a good spot. Let's see if we can. I'll drop my phone in there. I'm going to be upset. You can see where it's coming up there. And the water definitely taking on that icky, rusty look. So we are working. Guess you can see down in there to see how well this is starting to do, but we will check back. Alright, just doing an update. It's been in there about 4 hours now. And it's really working good. I'm going to show you this before I take it out and see how it looks. Alright, I got it unplugged so we can pull it out. This has just been 4 hours. And we can see already metal showing through. The rust is coming right off. See how rust is coming off of there. I'm gonna give it some more time. And on these pieces here, for the globe holder, and I think this doesn't always have a good contact with the rest of the frame, so sometimes you have to do a second bath and ground that so that it pulls it off. It looks like it's coming off a little bit. Bottom's looking good. Yeah, let's put her back in there. Make sure we're not touching our pipes. And let's let that cook some more. Alright, this has been here since 4 o'clock yesterday afternoon, so it's been here over 12 hours. I did have to turn it off last night because we had some storms coming through, so it only spent about 8 hours under the electrical current. Let's see how we did here. See all the rust in the water. Now, once these come out, they do have to be cleaned up. They're not going to come out pristine. But it should clean up fairly easily. You can see as I wipe this is just wiping with a rag. You can see the clean metal starting to come through. So let me get this. I'm going to buff it up, get it dry, and we'll see what the final result will be. Alright, I wish I could have showed this process, but unfortunately I was only born with 2 hands. After I took this lantern out of the bath, all I did was take one of these scrubby brushes that I got from well, I secretly took from my wife's stash, and took it into the kitchen sink against her regrets as well. And all I did was scrub this down with that scrubby brush. And look at this. I can actually see that there's date information on there. I can finally see that it is a Regal. I think I was calling it a Royal earlier. And it looks like it is actually in fantastic shape. Much better shape than I even anticipated. Now, the globe holder here, I think I mentioned earlier in the video, because the way it connects doesn't always get a good ground. So I'm going to put it back in the bath, and I'm going to hook the ground wire to this plate and give it a few more hours and let it clean that off a little bit better. Then we'll be ready to dry it up and test the tank, see if the tank is going to leak or not. So we shall return. Alright, take it back out of the bath, and that actually looks a lot better. So all I'm going to do now, I'm going to take the scrub brush, scrub sponge, and I'm just going to go over all these rusty places one more time, and then we'll see how that does. I only have two hands, so I got to turn the camera off to do this. Alright. That doesn't look too bad. So what I'll do now, this kind of has this turtle shell look to it, is I'm going to let it dry, and I'm going to go over it with some steel wool, see if we can get some more of this off of there. It will take on a different look once it dries. The only thing, persistent problem I have that kind of concerns me a little bit is the air tube is clogged by some kind of white substance under there. And even the bath didn't take that out. Definitely has the air tubes blocked. I'm going to have to get something, go down in there and open that up. And I've seen way too many alien movies not to be concerned about this as to what sealed that off. So let me get a wire and see what I can do with that. Alright. Ran a coat hanger down in there and got that loose. Nothing came out. Like it was probably just mud, maybe where the dust daubers had, or dirt daubers had built in there or something. I'm going to flush that out. And that's how we know the air tubes are put out. Most of it's coming out here. Over there, but now we're good. And that should not be a problem. It should allow it to burn nice and bright. Because everybody knows if those air tubes are clogged, you will not get a flame, or a good flame, out of your lantern. Alright, next step, let's dry this thing up and we'll think about some steel wool. Alright, everything's dry now. Doesn't look too bad. I have not done steel wool just yet. We will do that. Everything looks intact. I'd kind of like to not have to paint this little lantern, but we will see. So number 0. Regal. All right. Alright, power the finished lantern. This metal really likes to rust. I've gone over it with steel wool, and I've taken some metal polish and gone over it and gotten most of it off, but it still likes to flash, so I may end up having to paint this one. I'm hoping not. I really like to leave the lanterns metal when I can. And the fuel cap is an extra fuel cap. It doesn't quite fit, but I've got it on there for now. I'm looking for one that will fit on there. The globe is original, and it's very old glass. It dates back to the period. It has rough cut edges on the top. It has air bubbles in the glass. Looks very nice. I like the lift on this lantern. Interesting how it lifts up and tilts out of the way. So let's give it a light. So I think that did very well. When you light one of these the first time, you have to wonder when was the last time it was lit. So we have a 1903 to 1911 Regal No. 0. Nicely restored and making light once again.